For this place, we flew across the ocean. It's a piece of art in itself. We are in the world's largest salt desert, Uyuni in Bolivia, and only 2 months a year, during the rainy season, it looks like the world's largest mirror. We are picking up the pace. Now it's 2 shoots a day. I'll show you how I created these artworks. Here we go! Hi, I'm Julia Buruleva, an art photographer and the creator of the Art Expedition project. Right now we are at the world's largest salt flat, the Uyuni in Bolivia. I've always dreamed of doing an art shoot here. This place is absolutely unique. During the rainy season, its surface is covered with a thin layer of water, turning it into a giant mirror. One of the main ideas for this location was a shoot for my project Synchronization. This is a self-portrait project where I play both roles, photographer and model. I take several shots of my body from one point using a tripod and then combine them into a single composition. For this project, I'm always looking for unique natural locations because it's about synchronizing with nature. And without the Uyuni salt flats, my project wouldn't be complete. The Uyuni salt flats are located at an altitude of 3,800 meters above sea level, which means that sudden exposure to this height can cause symptoms of altitude sickness. That's why we planned a whole week for acclimatization and adaptation, gradually gaining altitude starting from Lima, the capital of Peru. But when I arrived in Lima, Peru, friends sent me a video from the salt flats, and it turned out that there was some kind of drought this year and all the water had dried up. The entire week we were traveling to the salt flats, I prayed for the rains to come back. And over this past week, we managed to do shoots in Arequipa, Peru and at Lake Titicaca in Bolivia. Check out the previous episodes.
Стартовали в соляную пустыню, наконец-то собрались все вместе. К нам присоединилась Наташа с Сергеем, которые приехали из Аргентины. Ира прилетела из Нью-Йорка, я прилетела из Барселоны. И вот у нас точка пересечения Uyuni, наконец-то срослась наша встреча. Ура! И мы едем на Солончак.
At the local market, we stocked up on snacks since we had a long journey ahead into the heart of the salt flats.
Свеклы, извините, вы не продрищитесь от свеклы?
Не-не-не,
в пустыне, соль прямо. Нет?
Шок, боюсь, мы не сжуем.
На 10 нам не надо.
Не сжуем за неделю.
На 3.
В Россию не повезем этот мешочек коки. Там сразу, я думаю, лет 5.
We also bought rubber boots to walk through the water in the salt flats. If the water is there.
¿No tienen agujeros? ¿Están bien? ¿Todo bien?
Todo probado.
No,
Este no es bocado.
no sale el agua.
No.
Ok. Si sale, venimos para cambiar, ¿ok?
Ya.
We pre-booked a jeep with a driver, and immediately after arriving on the overnight bus to Uyuni, we headed to the salt flats to check how the water situation was there.
Вот это номер.
Они все вот там. Хорошо, что дальше это просто мы для водички.
It seems my prayers to the Inca gods at the sacred Isla del Sol on Lake Titicaca were not in vain. They were heard.
Посмотри вообще.
Чума!
Your mind goes crazy here. It can't tell where the sky ends and the ground begins. It really feels like a hallucination, as if you're walking in the clouds. This time, for the synchronization project, I came up with an idea to utilize the mirrored reflections on the salt flats. I decided to create a semicircle formed by different positions of my body, which, thanks to the reflections, would turn into a full circle. Testing settings and compositions on Irina. I need to find a spot where the body's reflection is clearly visible and perfectly symmetrical. Although we've been at an altitude of 3,800 meters for several days now, the symptoms of altitude sickness persist. Breathing remains difficult and every movement is a struggle. This was one of the most challenging shoots of this project. To achieve a clean, still reflection of the body in the water, I had to hold each pose for a long time until the water calmed down and the ripples ceased.
Ну что, боковая планочка?
Ну, сейчас типа того будет, да.
Когда волны закончатся. Не болтай. Ожидаем. Замри. Вот все бы тебе сидя, а? Давай боковую планку. Сидя может каждый дурак.
And then I combine all these photos into a single composition. It's getting cold quickly, but we need to shoot a few more compositions. If you have any questions about how I create works for the synchronization project, feel free to write them in the comments. To see more uncensored content, subscribe to my Patreon, link in the description. Сейчас мы снимали для проекта «Синхронизация» несколько эпизодов. Меня просто эмоции переполняют. Я не знаю даже, что сказать. Я очень переживала, что здесь засуха и не будет воды. И вот накануне нашего приезда выпали дожди, и нам дико повезло увидеть вот это невероятное зеркало. This is probably the most beautiful sunset of my life. This is our art expedition team, Natasha, Sergey, and Irina. The next day, I decided to photograph Natasha, who actually came as a cinematographer and future editor of their art expedition. But I realized that Natasha, with her experience in dance and contact improvisation, would be a wonderful model. How could I not use her flexibility and grace? In places like the Uyuni salt flats, you definitely base your ideas on the location, as the entire visual is built around it. And what is Uyuni? It is a salt desert. So we decided to turn Natasha into a kind of spirit, a goddess of the salt desert. We decided to cover her body with the white paint, so she would be like an extension of the snow-white environment.
Сложно снимать обнаженную натуру.
Для Фейсбука.
Для Фейсбука, Инстаграма, Ютуба. Поэтому показываю вам только плечо нашей модели.
А все остальное смотрите в нашем...
А все остальное смотрите по ссылке в описании. Жмите колокольчик.
And here, the cube is ready, but we are not. By the way, the cube was made from a beer crate wrapped in a white bag purchased at the market. And the beer crate was kindly provided by Vilma, the owner of the hostel where we stayed.
¿Cómo se llama usted?
Vilma.
Vilma.
Ya.
Ajá. Irina,
Mucho
Julia.
gusto.
Ahora necesitamos una caja de color blanca o cubierto con algo de color blanca para poner una persona como una estatua y hacer fotos. ¿Qué altura?
No tan grande. No.
Entonces, ¿así?
Sí,
¿Así?
como
Más o
así,
menos,
como
es
así.
una banca, sería.
Como caja.
¿Sabes qué, Uyuni? Más dura que la banca, todo en la caja de cerveza.
Ah.
Here, every day is blessed with an incredible natural show. Today, it's a fantastic rainbow. Subscribe to the Art Expedition channel and we promise you more madness and adventures for the sake of art. In the next episode, we create striking, surreal images using just everyday items. The best models are mannequins, but where can we find them in the Bolivian wilderness? I can't manage to carry out one of my key ideas. The weather is ruining it again.